Hi, everyone. I am Ashley McManus, Director of Marketing at Affectiva. Welcome to Affectiva Asks, a human-centric AI podcast, where each episode we will interview a thought leader doing cutting-edge work in the AI space. A little bit about us. Affectiva is the pioneer of in-cabin sensing AI, software that can detect nuanced human emotions, complex cognitive states, behaviors, activities, and interactions within next-generation vehicles. Today's episode features Affectiva CEO Dr. Rana El-Kayoubi interviewing Dr. Jinmo Lee, Senior Research Engineer at Hyundai. Dr. Lee was always interested in working in industry to see how his research outcomes turn into products that change customers' lives. Hyundai offered him a job as a Senior Research Engineer for the vehicle aeroacoustics, and today he is in charge of future mobility UX concept design and engineering at Hyundai. In 2018, MIT Media Lab and Hyundai launched the Special Interest Group for Emotion Navigation, and Dr. Lee, together with Hyundai and the Media Lab, derived automotive AI concepts for sensing occupant emotion and help achieve their desired emotional state by providing an optimized in-cabin environment. This concept was also exhibited at CES 2019 and won the Best New Technology We Saw at CES 2019 by Business Insider. And Affectiva actually collaborated with Dr. Lee for this exhibition, providing and customizing facial emotion recognition software for exhibition demo cars. Let's listen in to learn more.
Welcome, everybody. Today with me, I have Dr. Jinmo Lee from Hyundai. So to get us started, can you please tell us about your background and how has your career taken you to Hyundai?
In 2012, I was a graduate student at Carnegie Mellon University and studied computational multiphysics. I was always interested in working in the industry than pursuing my career in academia. Thankfully, Hyundai offered me a job as a senior research engineer for the vehicle aeroacoustics. But at that time, I could not expect my research career to arrive at this destination around the human-centric AI in the automotive applications. So from my starting working position in vehicle aeroacoustics, I have encountered many exciting journeys of research opportunities in active noise cancellation, sound zone separation, in-cabin sensing for a driver's state, and in-car interventions. In that regard, I have been enjoying my job in Hyundai very much.
That is awesome. And one thing that you said that really resonated with me is pursuing a research career in industry rather than academia. I guess, how did you find that different? Like, what drove you to take on a career in industry versus academia?
I wanted to see how my research outcomes turn into the products or services and change customers' lives. So that's why I wanted to pursue my career in the industry.
Yeah, that is something that really resonates with me because for me as well, I started off being, as you know, very interested in academia. But then I realized that in kind of playing in industry, you have an opportunity to actually bring your products to customers. And that's very exciting. So what is your role at Hyundai today?
I'm in charge of the future mobility UX concept design and engineering as a senior research engineer in the UX strategy team.
And kind of, can you give us a few examples of projects you're working on to the extent that you can share, of course?
I was working on the in-cabin sensing for a driver and the multi-sensory feedback to a driver or passengers. I wanted to scale this research topic to the bigger UX concept. So I recently shifted my team to here. So in this team, we are doing some future study about the car after 5 or 10 years later. And the perspective is a little bit different from my previous position. The perspective of research and planning is more on the user experience rather than specific research topics. But still, I want to utilize my research expertise from my previous position to this design of the user experience for the future mobility.
I think it's awesome that you're taking a very holistic view of the user experience within the vehicle and kind of applying multi-sensors and different approaches to thinking about that. That's pretty awesome. And my sense is that's very at the forefront of how, automotive companies think about mobility. Very innovative.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So as you know, Affectiva spun out of the MIT Media Lab. And we've been very fortunate. While I was at MIT, I was a postdoc, and we collaborated very closely with the members of the Media Lab, which are basically Fortune 500 companies, global companies that are part of the Media Lab ecosystem, and we get to collaborate on special projects. I know that you have spent some time at MIT. What drew you to MIT, and what kind of research projects are you doing there? And how has the experience been?
In 2018, MIT Media Lab and Hyundai launched the special interest group for emotion navigation. And I was project PI on the Hyundai side. My colleagues at the Media Lab, Hyundai, and I derived automotive AI concepts for sensing driver and passengers' emotion and navigating it into their desired states by providing the optimized in-cabin environment toward that target emotional states. And yes, we studied many concepts around this automotive AI, and thankfully, we were able to exhibit this concept of research to CES 2019 in the Kia booth as READS. We named it as READS for the exhibition, and it is the acronym of Real-Time Emotion Adaptive Driving. And the Business Insider chose this exhibition as the best new technology we saw at CES 2019. But mostly we collaborated in remote. But I want to deep dive into this subject of research by conducting on-site collaboration with the Media Lab at MIT. It was still a highly conceptual project at the time, and I was looking to achieve a feasible in-car intervention system that can recognize the driver's physical and emotional status and shift their mood or condition using multiple sensory feedback.
So can you explain to us, if we were at CES 2019, what would it feel like to be inside READ? And of course, Affectiva was there, and I personally got to see it firsthand, and it was really, really cool. So tell our listeners what it would have been like.
Firstly, I should mention that Affectiva played a considerable role as a collaborator in this exhibition by providing a customized facial emotion recognition software for the two exhibition demo cars. So I was in charge of the one demo car, which contains the most of the features of emotion sensing and in-car interventions. So conceptually, we embedded the emotion recognition features to that car using the facial emotion recognition software by Affectiva and other additional sensors for detecting the heart rate and EDAs and so on. And in response to the tactile signal of emotion and vital signal, the car conceptually navigates the moods of the visitors to the two different ways. We made two different modes, one into the relaxation and another into the mind-blowing mode. That's the brief description of the car. And in that car, we already embedded the scent actuation and wind, tactile feedback, and music, and so on.
I think what I remember loving about being in the vehicle is this was the first example of a concept, right, that ties emotion sensing to actual intervention in the car. And I remember the sense changing in the vehicle based on how I felt. Obviously, the music changing. We've seen and heard about that kind of intervention before, but the scent activation was really new for me, and it was just really neat to experience that as opposed to just talk about it in the abstract. So it was great. And I'm sure, there's a lot to build on it. So on that note, you recently shared a video of a project that you've been working on, Sharing Hearts with Children, the Little Big Emotion project, which has garnered over 16 million views on YouTube, which is amazing. So for those who are unfamiliar with that application, can you briefly explain what it is and why are people so excited about it?
Yes, of course. I'm glad to talk about this project. This small EV is equipped with a camera sensor to detect pediatric patients' facial emotions and a 6-axis accelerometer sensor to detect their heart rates and respiration. And in response to their real-time physical and emotional states, the car activates joyful or relaxing scent, music, wind, lighting, and specially designed soft tactile feedback and bubbles. But of course, we control the use of bubbles due to the safety problem of making the floor slippery. And we are conducting a clinical study on pediatric patients in the hospital with the collaboration with the Barcelona Children's Hospital Innovation Center and the Media Lab. I'm not able to explain the details of the system at this moment, since it is an ongoing research, but I can roughly say that we designed the in-car intervention in 2 different modes of fun and relaxation.
Yeah, this is super exciting, and it's such a great use case of the technology, and it combines, the sensing piece of it, but also automotive and wellness, right? Which I really think, in the future, we're going to see more and more overlap between automotive and wellness, and thinking of vehicles as a space to improve your state of mind. I serve as an advisor on the simulation program at Children's Hospital in Boston, and the head PI there, Dr. Peter Weinstock, he talks about emotions as being the 4th vital sign. It's so important to understand and manage the stress of patients, especially kids, because often kids are not able to really talk about their stress levels and their anxiety levels. So I think this is such a great project. And I was thinking about this. I don't know why I haven't thought of this before, but I would love to introduce you to a children's hospital in Boston, and maybe you can replicate what you're doing in Boston as well. That'd be great. So what are the next steps with it?
So the clinical study is ongoing. So we are listening to how the pediatric patients and their parents and doctors think about this technology. And we are planning to analyze the influence of this small EV car in reducing stress and anxiety of pediatric patients.
We will be staying tuned for the results. It sounds really exciting. So as you know, Affectiva also works in the automotive space, and we provide in-cabin sensing solutions to automotive companies. And the way we think about this is almost in 3 strands, right? Like in-cabin sensing, part of it is about managing the driver state, so driver distraction, drowsiness, etc. Part of it is understanding the occupant state, so what else is happening with the occupants in the vehicle. And then the last leg of that is the cabin state. So we've talked a lot about emotion sensing within the vehicle, but what other types of things can, the vehicle sense and detect that can then personalize the in-cabin experience? Can you comment on that?
Yes, the other vital signals is quite important, I think. Throughout my research activities at MIT, I realized the importance of that sensing signals. And I want to mention the needs for such a sensing solution for a case of a high level of drivers' fatigue and stress.
Mhm.
People in US, for example, they drive about an hour a day for commuting, and this daily driving routine can easily degrade one's well-being, especially for those who encounter traffic congestion very often. And we can use in-cabin vital signal sensing to alert a driver under inattentive driving by high stress or fatigue. Or even further, we can use this sensing technology combined with in-car intervention to alleviate the stress of a driver in advance of such situations. And incorporating intervention is one example in academic research that uses multisensory stimulations in calming the breathing rate of a driver to alleviate their stress. And researchers use the sensing signals of breathing rates, heart rate, electrodermal activities to personalize the breathing guide pattern or on-off operation.
Yeah, that is very exciting to be able to detect these signals. And then again, it's this overlap between automotive and mobility and wellness, right? And how do you combine these two worlds to put, bring more comfort and to bring more comfort to the occupants in a vehicle. So how do you, are these wearable sensors, or are there non-wearable approaches to detecting these vital signs?
Mostly they are using the wearable sensors due to the sensing quality, like especially for the academic research. So yeah, I would highly appreciate it if an automotive contact leak sensor is available in detecting these vital signals with reliable sensing quality.
All right, that's a great call to action. So for all you listeners out there, if you have a contactless sensor for detecting breathing rate or heart rate, definitely you know where to go for that. We did actually a number of years ago explore doing this based on optical sensors, and optical sensors essentially that can detect your heart rate and heart rate variability and respiration rate. And it was based on work that was done out of the Media Lab at MIT. It becomes really tricky to do that in an automotive context. If you're sitting in front of a webcam and it's well lit and you're sitting in front of a Zoom call, that's one thing. But when you're in a car and the lighting conditions change and there's a lot of movement and jitter, it just becomes really hard. I'm sure you've looked into that.
Yeah, I really agree with you. And I experienced similar issues in utilizing that optical sensors in detecting the vital signals.
Yeah, so it's still some more research to do there. So what do you believe the role of AI will be within the vehicle?
I believe the role of AI within the vehicle is correctly understanding the driver and passengers' needs and behaving as they want, rather than simply replacing laborious tasks from them. Sometimes drivers may still be willing to take the laborious driving task, for example. In such a situation, they might not appreciate the autonomous car takes control of a vehicle's maneuver. So I think that the correct understanding of driver and passengers' needs should come first, and in-cabin sensing is very crucial in such regards. At the same time, when the AI's capability is limited, clear role definition and sharing the autonomy between a human, driver, and AI would be quite essential.
I love how you say sharing the autonomy. I think that captures it for me. It's this collaboration between the human driver / occupants in the car and the AI within the car. And it's this partnership, right? And if you can transfer control back and forth between the AI and the human in a way that's seamless, that's where the value lies. That's very exciting. So for our listeners today, if you had one takeaway, what would you like to tell them?
Firstly, I'm pleased to have this chance to share my thoughts on human-centric AI. And the in-cabin sensing technology is rapidly emerging in the automotive industry. but its deployment is often limited to pure monitoring purposes or satisfaction of automotive regulations on safety. But I believe there are opportunities yet to unfold in utilizing these technologies to enrich drivers' and passengers' life in more exciting ways. So that's the thing that I want to mention. And I also want to mention that I discussed today's interview topic based on my experience and thoughts as an automotive engineer in this field, rather than representing Hyundai business and R&D strategy.
Yeah, no, we appreciate that. And we appreciate you making time to share your thoughts with us. I do believe that, with all the automation and innovation we're seeing in the mobility space, the focus needs to be on the humans, right? And I love that you're taking a very human-centric approach to designing and deploying these technologies. That's pretty awesome. So for our listeners who want to keep in touch with you or want to learn more, what's the best way for them to learn more?
You can directly contact me using my email address. If I can leave my address to the podcast, that would be one way. And if you want to know more about the small EV projects, you can type in Little Big Emotion in search engine like Google or Bing, and you will find more details in Hyundai Motor Group's article. Or if you type in the keywords Little Big Emotion Media Lab, you will find the link to the post of the project on the Media Lab website and list of people in that research with email contact information.
One last question we like to ask of all our guests. If your car could do one thing in the future to make your life a little easier, what would it be?
Personally, I would really appreciate it if a car can park itself in the city or very crowded place. Based on where I live, I enjoy driving for the most part, but I feel that much of my time is wasted on parking. Such a small feature from the customer's perspective, but a quite tough technical challenge would really enhance my lifestyle, I think.
Yeah, I would buy that too. I would definitely buy that. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Dr. Lee. It was such a pleasure speaking with you and collaborating with you. And we look forward to continuing the collaboration and conversation.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this great podcast. I will also be looking forward to the next chance of the collaboration with you.
Absolutely. Stay well and stay safe.
Probably the most interesting takeaway from Rana and Dr. Lee's conversation was around the 1 hour a day figure for average commute time for drivers in the US and the impact this daily driving routine can have on our stress levels, especially when faced with traffic. In-cabin sensing can be a great way to work with the driver to help bring their attention back to the road or build a system for the car to use this information to decrease their stress levels or fatigue. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe to Affectiva's Human-Centric AI podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts for new episodes. We are also on social media, so please reach out to us on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram @Affectiva to share any feedback you have on the show and weigh in on the discussion using hashtag #AffectivaAsks. Don't forget to rate us and comment with your feedback to help make the podcast more discoverable for others. Until next time, thanks for listening.